Very quick correction before we jump into the day's news. A few days ago, I played a clip of Andrew Yang saying what I thought was that he's not a big fan of unions. I misheard the clip. He said he is a fan of unions, so I want to correct that. My analysis was based on mishearing that he said he is not a fan of unions. He is a fan of unions, and I stand corrected on that clip. Okay, this is sort of weird because weeks ago I knew I'd have to do this next story because it was obvious. The redacted Mueller report has just come out. We are going through it now, and we'll have a report about it for you on tomorrow's program. But after playing coy for weeks now, and after pretending that the White House would not be consulted about the release of the Mueller report, the White House was consulted about the release of the Mueller report. The New York Times is now reporting with multiple sources from within the discussion that multiple officials from the White House were in touch with the Justice Department, having conversations about the release of the redacted Mueller report. And yesterday we learned that Donald Trump's lawyers are preparing a rebuttal report, which may well be out by the time you listen to or watch this. The obvious question is, why do you need a rebuttal report to a report that completely exonerates you? And the answer is, as we are already seeing in the Mueller report, and we'll get into tomorrow, there is a whole bunch of stuff, even in the redacted version of the Mueller report, that doesn't exactly exonerate Donald Trump and the people around him of all wrongdoing. You only would know, if you're Trump's attorneys, that you need to put together a rebuttal report if you have been given information about what is in the eventual redacted Mueller report, maybe even an unredacted version. And what you have to understand is that every aspect of William Barr's handling of this report has been disgusting, but completely predictable. And this is a totally separate story from the contents of the report. Okay, we'll get to the contents of the report tomorrow when we've had more time to actually go through it. Writing and releasing a propaganda letter filled with dubious legalese, wrongly suggesting that there's no evidence of any kind against the president, which then is used to justify Donald Trump's exoneration tour. Playing semantic games and refusing to answer during a congressional hearing a few weeks ago whether the White House will get to see the report before Congress does. And now this, of course, coordination, or at least conferring with the White House about the release of the report, now explains Donald Trump's behavior on Twitter the last 4 days. When Trump goes nuts on Twitter, extra unhinged, we often later find out that something privately was going on, which caused that Twitter storm. Trump this week focusing his anger on Bernie Sanders and on Fox News for treating Bernie, quote, too well during his Monday night town hall. Trump tweeting about that a lot. And then one tweet from yesterday from Donald Trump, just completely all over the place, continuing to slam the probe itself and the Steele dossier. Remember, the investigation has been over for weeks, and Trump is still tweeting about it, saying, quote, wow, FBI made 11 payments to fake dossiers, discredited author, Trump hater Christopher Steele. The witch hunt has been a total fraud on your president and the American people. It was brought to you by dirty cops, crooked Hillary, and the DNC. How is there any justification for briefing the subject of the investigation about the report summarizing that investigation before Congress even gets it? It's the height of corrupt cronyism, which is, of course, William Barr's specialty, if you know the last 20 years of his work on presidential cover-ups. And more proof, by the way, that Donald Trump knew what was going on. Trump announced that there would be a press conference this morning at 9:30 by William Barr yesterday, before the Justice Department had even announced it. Okay, so Trump was interviewed on a radio show on WMAL, and he announced during that radio interview, we're going to be hearing from William Barr tomorrow. People didn't know that, so the media went to the Justice Department and said, Trump is claiming this, and the Justice Department said, oh, yeah, we actually are going to be doing a press conference tomorrow. So based on everything that is known publicly, based on multiple sources familiar with the discussions, William Barr had a very specific reason for playing coy and not answering early last week whether or not the White House would have knowledge of the contents of the report before Congress does, before the public does? The answer was yes, and William Barr knew that that was the answer and therefore played coy during that congressional hearing. Now, we're going to dig in detail to the actual report tomorrow, but the press conference that William Barr gave was an absolute gong show, playing all sorts of semantic games. You might have noticed if you watched the press conference this morning that William Barr kept repeating that no one in the Trump campaign, for example, participated in the hacking done by Russia. Was anybody claiming that people in the Trump campaign participated in the hacking? William Barr going out of his way during the press conference to claim that things didn't took place, which no one ever claimed had actually taken place. And we are going to see sort of the full scope, or at least as full as it can be, based on a heavily redacted report with pages that are almost entirely blacked out, that what we were told by William Barr in that initial letter, now maybe 3 weeks ago, I guess it was certainly a mischaracterization at best of the evidence in Robert Mueller's report. More on that coming up tomorrow. Today's episode is sponsored in part by the BRD Bitcoin wallet. Whether you have experience with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies or you've been wanting to give it a try for the first time, BRD offers the most elegant, easy-to-use Bitcoin wallet out there. It's an app on Android and iOS, lets you trade cryptocurrencies, store all of your Bitcoin and crypto on the app totally free, send and receive Bitcoin with the app, use a credit card to purchase cryptocurrency, and it's 100% private and secure, virtually impossible for someone to hack your account. BRD themselves won't even know your information. There are no logins, no passwords. You just use your key to access your Bitcoin, and you're the only one who has access to it. It was the first ever Bitcoin wallet in the iOS App Store. They've been around since 2014. They have more than 2 million users. BRD is one of the oldest, most established, and most trusted Bitcoin wallets in the industry. We recently interviewed Aaron from the BRD team, and it was a great conversation. You should search our channel for it and check it out. All BRD wants to do is to make Bitcoin more accessible and simpler to use for those who want to use it. And that's what they've accomplished with their super powerful, easy to use app. Download it. It's perfect for anyone who's just getting started with Bitcoin. Just as good if you already know what you're doing. I've put a link underneath this video.